There's a truth about women no one dares to say out loud. Not your teachers, not your friends, and certainly not the women themselves. You've been taught that they're unshakable, that they hold the cards, that you have to prove your worth just to earn a glance. But here's what they'll never admit. Behind every confident smile, behind every "I'm fine" is a hidden weakness. Not flaws, not liabilities, but soft, sacred spaces that only the right man is allowed to see. Spaces she guards with silence. Spaces she's learned to protect with sharp eyes and quick wit. Because behind that glow, behind that confidence, there are stories. Stories of being misunderstood. Stories of being taken for granted. Stories of opening up only to be left standing in emotional silence. And when you understand those places, not to manipulate, but to connect, not to fix her, but to feel her, you stop chasing, you stop begging, and suddenly she leans in. Not because she has to, but because something about you makes her feel safe too. Let me show you the 10 hidden female weaknesses, the ones most men never notice, and the ones only the rarest men ever understand. 1. She craves weakness. 1. She craves reassurance, but pretends she's strong reassurance, but hides it behind strength. She'll tell you she doesn't need anything, that she's good, that she's got it handled, that she's focused on her business, her goals, her independence. But what you don't see is the girl who once trusted too fast and got burned, the one who gave too much too soon and got met with silence in return. So now she wears independence like a shield. She moves like she's unbothered, but watches you closely. She tests your silence. She feels your stillness. She's not looking for promises. She's looking for patterns. She won't ask you to stay. She won't beg you to prove yourself, but she'll notice the little things. Like whether you text back not just when it's easy, but when it's inconvenient, like whether you remember what she shared when she thought no one was listening, like whether your energy changes the moment she stops performing. If you pass that silent test, she'll slowly let the armor slip. Not because she's weak, but because your presence made it safe to be soft. Not your compliments, not your charm, but your quiet consistency. Because your presence, when it's still grounded and unshaken, is the very thing she's starving for. And once she finds it, she stops needing to prove herself. She exhales because for the first time, she's not preparing for the moment a man leaves. She's allowing herself to stay. 2. She's attracted to weakness. 2. Why she's secretly attracted to masculine energy, but she won't say it out loud. She might tell you she wants someone sensitive, someone open, someone emotionally available. And it's true toe point. She doesn't want a wall, but she also doesn't want your chaos. If your world revolves around her emotions, if your identity shifts based on her moods, she'll begin to shut down. Not because she's heartless, but because she doesn't feel safe. You see, feminine energy, real feminine energy, crave something stable to rest in, something still, something strong, not loud, not controlling, but grounded. Your ability to hold emotional space without being swept up in it. That's what turns her head. That's what calms her nervous system. Because your stillness, your unshaken center, that's what tells her, this man won't lose himself in my fire. She's not looking for you to fix her moods. She's watching how you respond when she's in one. Do you get flustered? Do you avert talk? Do you try to change the subject to avoid her storm? Or do you lean in quietly, let her speak, and simply stay? That's real masculinity. Not bravado, not flexing, but being so rooted in who you are that nothing she throws at you can shake it. And when she feels that, 3, she weakness. The 3, emotional validation or drama. Understanding her emotional triggers needs emotional validation, but she calls it drama. She cries. She rants. She circles back to that one thing you said 3 days ago. And in your mind, you're wondering, why is this still a thing? You call it drama. You call her too much, too sensitive, too emotional. But here's what most men never understand. What you label as drama is your deepest need trying to be heard. Because for a woman, emotions aren't always meant to be solved. They're meant to be witnessed, felt, held. Her talking about the same thing twice isn't a glitch. It's the test. She's asking, can you handle me at my most vulnerable? Can you hold space for what feels messy to me? Will you still be there when I'm not easy to love? She doesn't want solutions, she wants safety. And here's the secret. She can tell the difference between a man who listens to respond and a man who listens to feel. If you cut her off with logic, if you say, why are we talking about this again? If you roll your eyes or check your phone while she's trying to be seen, she won't yell. She won't argue. She'll just quietly start to leave. Not physically, emotionally. First, she stops sharing. Then she stops trusting. And eventually, you become just another man who couldn't handle her truth. But the rare man, Theon, who stays grounded while she vents, who says, I hear you, not as a trick, but as truth. That man doesn't just win her affection. He wins her respect because validation isn't agreement. It's presence. It's saying, you're not too much. I've got you. And when a woman feels that, her voice softens, her walls melt, her loyalty becomes unshakable. Weakness. 4. Her secret tests and how Stoic men pass them. 4. She'll test you. Not because she wants to hurt you, but to feel safe, she pulls back. She throws a sarcastic jab. She goes quiet after you open up. And in that moment, most men feel confused, even rejected. But this isn't punishment. This is protection. Because every strong woman you meet has been through something, some form of betrayal, abandonment, emotional inconsistency. She's seen words that didn't match actions. She's felt what it's like to be adored one day and ignored the next. So now she tests not to play games, but to feel safe. She wants to see, will you run when it's not easy? Will you argue when she closes off? Will you become reactive or remain calm? If she pulls away slightly and you panic, she'll know you're not solid. If she jabs and you retaliate, she'll see that you're still ruled by ego. But if you hold steady, if you stay grounded, if you say more with your energy than with your words, she'll breathe. Because what she's really saying is, show me I don't have to protect myself from you. And if you do, you become the man she can finally exhale with. Not because you said the right thing, but because you didn't flinch when she showed her guard. 5. She's afraid of needing you. Weakness number 5. She's afraid to need you because she's been hurt before. Because she's been left before. This one is subtle. Easy to miss if you're not paying attention. You think she's cool, calm, detached. You think she's not that into you. But behind that quiet confidence is a deep fear. The fear of depending on a man again. She's been there. She's opened her heart, let her guard down, felt the warmth of connection. And just when she felt safe, he left emotionally, physically. And now she's learned if I need a man, I get hurt. If I rely on him, he'll change. So instead, she becomes her own source. She pushes down the longing. She learns to live without. But make no mistake, just because she can live without you doesn't mean she wants to. She just doesn't trust that it's safe to want, to hope, to reach. So she waits. She watches. She sees if you show up consistently. If your presence is real, even when she's not performing. If you're still there when she stops making it easy, your words won't convince her. Your gifts won't move her. But your energy, calm, consistent, non-reactive. That's what begins to break down her wall. Because what she's looking for isn't perfection, it's peace. And when she senses she can need you without losing herself, she starts to need you in ways she never imagined. Not out of desperation, but out of safety. Because you showed her something no other man did, that she can lean in and you won't disappear. 6. Weakness. Ducker 6. She feels everything but won't show it until she feels safe. She feels deeply, but she won't show it until you prove you're safe. You think she's cold. You think she's guarded, but you're wrong. She feels everything deeper than she'll ever let on. She notices your silence. She replays your words. She overthinks the moments you forget and overanalyzes the ones you remember, but she doesn't show it. Not because she doesn't care, but because she's learned what happens when she does. The last time she wore her heart on her sleeve, she was told she was too much. The last time she asked for what she needed, she was met with distance, so now she stays quiet. She lets you guess. She hides behind sarcasm. She laughs it off. But behind every subtle smile is a girl wondering, is it safe to be seen yet? Can I let this man in, or will he do what the last one did? You see, most men think vulnerability is one-sided, that if she trusts you first, then you'll open up. But real strength is you showing up with calm, consistent energy long before she gives you the green light. Not chasing her. Not asking for validation, but simply staying. Being there when she's distant, remaining grounded when she's emotional, listening deeply even when she says it's fine. Because the truth is, when a woman finally feels safe, she stops pretending. She stops performing. She begins to let you see her, all of her. Not because she had to, but because your presence made hiding unnecessary. 7. Weakness. Verse 7. She doesn't want to lead. She's waiting for you to take control. She doesn't want to lead their relationship. Even if she acts like she does, she makes the plans. She pays the bills. She runs her business, leads her life, and walks like she needs nothing from anyone. And when you meet her, you might think she wants to be in control. She doesn't need a man. But underneath all that structure is a woman who's tired. Tired of always having to decide. Tired of always being strong. Tired of having to be both the fire and the foundation. She's not bossy because she loves it. She's bossy because she doesn't trust you'll take the lead. And if she senses hesitation in you, if you're constantly asking what she wants, if you're afraid to make the first move, if your decisions bend to avoid her reactions, she may smile. But inside, she's checking out. Because even the strongest woman wants to feel like she can relax, wants to feel like someone else can steer for once. That doesn't mean domination. That doesn't mean barking orders. That means leadership. Quiet, confident, masculine leadership. It means showing up with vision, making decisions with clarity, taking initiative not to control her but to provide direction. And when she sees that, when she senses that you know where you're going with or without her approval, she softens. She lets go. She lets you lead, not because she can't, but because finally she doesn't have to. Weakness, number 8. She wants to be chosen, but will never compete for you. 8. She wants to be chosen, but she'll never compete for your attention. She may flirt. She may smile when you're around. She may even compliment your style or your mind. But one thing she'll never do: compete for your time, for your energy, for your affection. Because a woman who knows her worth will never fight to be noticed. She'll simply retreat into silence, not because she's shy, but because you showed her she's just one of many. If your eyes wander in every direction, if every beautiful woman gets the same energy she does, she'll feel it. And it won't sit right with her because what she craves isn't constant flattery. It's focused presence. She doesn't need you to worship her, but she does need to feel seen fully, intentionally, uniquely. The kind of man she falls for isn't the one who tries to impress everyone. It's the one who's already chosen. The one whose attention doesn't scatter. The one who can look 1,000 distractions in the face and still say, "I've made my decision." It's you. That energy, that clarity. It's intoxicating to a woman. Not because she needs it to survive, but because it tells her she's not another option. She's the choice. And when she feels that, she stops questioning. She stops testing. And she starts investing. Weakness number 9. She needs mystery, but also craves emotional availability. 9. She needs you to be mysterious but emotionally available. Here's the paradox that confuses most men. She wants connection but not exposure. She wants to know you, but not all at once. And the mistake many men make is giving everything away too soon. Telling their whole story on the first date, spilling pain, confessing insecurities, oversharing in the name of authenticity. But here's the thing. True emotional availability isn't about dumping your heart out. It's about being open while still being self-contained. She wants to feel like there's more to discover, like you have layers, depth, stillness. If you're too predictable, if your emotions run wild, if she feels like she knows your entire history in one night, You remove the most powerful thing you can offer her, mystery. Mystery doesn't mean coldness. It means control. It means giving her glimpses, not the entire picture. Let her earn your truth. Let her discover who you are slowly. Let your silence carry weight. Let your presence say more than your words ever could. Because when a woman senses you've lived, that you've seen things, felt things, and still remain composed, she leans in. She becomes curious. She begins to chase clarity, not because you're hiding, but because you're worth the effort to understand. 10. She fears weakness. 10. She fears loving you more than you love, her loving you more than you love her. This one is quiet, invisible, but powerful. She'll never say it, not even to herself sometimes. But the more she starts to care about you, the more afraid she becomes. Afraid that she's falling harder. Afraid that she's risking more. Afraid that you could wake up one day and no longer feel the same. You see, for a woman, loving deeply is surrender, not weakness, but trust. And trust is terrifying when you've been hurt. So she pulls back right when things are getting good. Right when she starts to open, right after an intimate moment, she goes cold. Not because you did something wrong, but because something real is happening inside her and it scares her. This is the moment where most men panic. They chase. They question everything. They start trying to force a connection back into motion. But that pressure only confirms her fear. It makes her feel like she's responsible for your emotions. And the moment she feels that pressure, she shuts down. But the rare man, he doesn't chase. He doesn't argue. He doesn't beg. He remains calm, grounded, still because he understands love is not control. It's not obsession. It's presence. He lets her feel the weight of his absence, not as punishment, but as space. He lets her come to her own realization that she's falling for him and it's okay. That even if she loves him more today, he's not going anywhere tomorrow. And that restraint, that quiet strength, that is the moment she starts to trust. Not because you said the right words, but because you didn't try to overpower her fear. You respected it and still chose to stay. When a woman feels that she doesn't just fall, she surrenders not to a man who needs her, but to a man she's afraid to lose because he doesn't need her to feel whole, yet still chooses her fully. Now you know the truth. Women final Stoic wisdom, emotional strength that makes her stay aren't invincible. They're not perfect. They're not in control of everything they feel. They're human, complicated, beautifully vulnerable beneath the surface. And when you start to see past the act, when you realize that independence is often protection, that sarcasm is often fear, that silence is often a test, you stop reacting like a boy and start responding like a man. Not just any man, but a grounded one, a stoic one. One who doesn't chase but attracts. One who doesn't panic but remains still. One who doesn't demand her affection but earns her respect, and from that respect her desire. Because at the end of the day, it's not about being perfect. It's not about being Theracist, the strongest, or the best looking. It's about being emotionally safe, mentally present, quietly powerful. That's what she wants. That's what she's afraid to admit. And that is your advantage. So remember this. You don't have to speak loudly to be heard. You don't have to prove yourself to be chosen. You don't have to chase love to be loved. You just have to become the kind of man she feels safe enough to be herself around. And when she feels that, she doesn't just want you. She respects you. She trusts you. She opens, she gives, and she stays. Not because you asked her to, but because your presence made her feel something she's been searching for all her life. Peace. Stillness.